What Will's job is, because he's a herding dog, and in fact this is one of our very own Australian breeds of dog, the working Kelpie. He's a black and tan working Kelpie. His job is to go out and gather the sheep and bring them back to us. And as you can see, without me saying anything at all to him, he does that. And that's because naturally, we've selected dogs from the wolves, because that's where all the dogs came from, to help us in our hunting. So what we've got here is a hunting dog that's just had the hunting part taken out, the kill part taken out of him. And what he does is, he's part of my pack, I'm the leader, and he brings the prey animals, which in this case are sheep, to me as the boss, so I can get to pick one out. Which one looks tasty? This one here looks nice and big. I can grab it, he'll come in and help me, and that's the one we'll eat. So in the wild, basically the wolves would go out in a group as a pack, and they would herd the prey animals into a place where the top dog, in this case me, would be hiding, and that's how they would feed. So when we do training with dogs like this, you might see your dog at home and you might teach them to sit, and you might use a food reward, and they would do it. If we did it to these types of dogs, they'd go, I don't want that little tidbit, I've got a whole sheep to eat here, and they would just spit it out. So the principle of training is using the herding, the gift that they have for herding, as their positive reward. And doesn't he hate that? Look at him bringing those sheep to me. This is what he does naturally. Gathering the sheep for me to eat. That's all he is. And we've selected him and selected him and selected him for these brains and this ability to do that. So he does that very, very naturally. Border Collies are all over the world. They win all of the obedience, they win all of the agility, they win all of those things because their brains are so well developed. We've selected for their intelligence. And you can see he's a pretty smart looking cookie. But the difference between a Border Collie and a Kelpie is that Border Collies have a willingness to comply. What that means is they'll say to you, what can I do for you? And in fact we say the difference between a Border Collie and a Kelpie is a Border Collie will say, when you ask it to do something, it will say, what next? What else can I do for you? Wouldn't it be nice to have employees like that every day? What can I do for you now? Whereas the Kelpie, he's an Australian Kelpie, bred by the Aussies, what he says to you is, what for? When you ask him to do something, he goes, what for? And you have to explain it to him. And you'll see that when they work today, they have a different approach. The Border Collie, he will happily do it because he loves doing his job. The Kelpie will go, what does the union think about that? And he will discuss it with you, and we'll have a negotiation, and we'll come to some agreement. So as you can see, we're walking along, and our sheep get to follow us wherever I go. Now, a little puppy will do that, and I've got a puppy in the car, about a 7-month-old puppy, that will do that. So all of a sudden, with that natural ability, I can get work done. I can go out into the field, gather my sheep, and take them where I want to go. But of course, I don't want to go out into the field. My job should be, really, only to open gates, drink coffee, and look good. That's in my contract. So what I need to be able to do is get my dog to do everything except open gates. And if they could open gates, all I'd have to do is drink coffee and look good. But anyway, it's in the contract, got to do something. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to show you how we get our dog to do some of those things. And we use the instinct to make that happen. And you can see he's working merrily away without me telling him anything. So if I moved in this direction here, look what he does. So all I need to do is name that. Give it a command and he will get it. If I go in this direction here, look what he does. He does that naturally. That way. That way. So we've now got an opportunity to start to train that dog by using that instinct to get him to go in circles around his sheep. All I had to do was add a stop, and now we've got our sheep going that way. I want them brought back. And can you see how I've got my job down good? I just need my coffee, don't I? I just get to lean on the fence, drink coffee, look good, I'm going to open gates as well. So once I've got those whistles going, those direction whistles going, I'll walk in this direction. Walk in this direction. And then when he finds balance, which is that point there, and then I ask him to back off. Back off. Back off. Walk up. Walk up. Back off. Walk up. Walk up. Back off. Now I'm just playing with him, aren't I? So our Border Collie, compliant, loves to do his job, will happily work for you all day long. And in fact, this Border Collie here, you might be pleased to know, ran a sheepdog trial yesterday down at Margaret River, and he scored 87 points out of a possible 100 because he's a very, very good dog. And that's a pretty good score in a sheepdog trial. However, yes, give him a round of applause, folks. Barney likes that. Now, Simon's hobby is sheepdog trialling, and I brought this puppy home. And if you can imagine what a puppy like that would look like when it rolled up as a 6-week-old puppy, and I went to my little daughter, who was about your size, and said, what would you like to call him? And I'm a sheepdog trialer, and sheepdog trials are pretty tough. We wear cowboy hats and cowboy boots. We go out there and round up the stock, and Emma said to me, I think he should be called Fluffy Duffy. So while I was going out to my sheepdog trial, I couldn't imagine yelling out, stop, Fluffy Duffy. So we managed to negotiate, because negotiation is all part of life, and his name now is Barney. Now Barney is a big purple dinosaur for you guys that don't know that. But it works, doesn't it? It works. Give Barney a round of applause, folks.